Yesterday at this time on the Market Day Report, we were talking a lot about the crude oil price, heating oil price, and where that was headed, and the events that led up to the big move. Now, crude oil today, still kind of watching to see what can happen with all of those events taking place in Saudi Arabia. Let's talk to a guy who really keeps his finger on the pulse of all of the markets, including crude oil, including what the Fed may be saying also. Todd Horwitz with Bubba Trading joins us from Redwood, Illinois, and he is here with us to discuss all of this. All right, first of all, let's start over here in the crude oil market. Your reaction to yesterday's big move, and now we're, October down 232 at 60.58. November's down 229, so we're pulling back a little bit here today.
And John, I thought we would pull back a little bit. Again, we still may get one more spurt. Yesterday was a 100% fear trade because, again, you could see by the formation, we go back to that backwardation, and of course, it's now coming back in. Now, we were down almost $4 today, so we've had a rallier, but again, everybody's trying to guess what Saudi Arabia is going to do. Are they going to come back online faster or not faster? In the meantime, it's still a fear trade, and I still say that the highs were probably made yesterday, and we're going to see a lot lower prices from here. And I think today's at $1.4 drop is just the start of oil going lower. And again, I still think that we will see probably the high 40s before the year is out.
So another buying opportunity could come in here. What about the Fed chair and some of the statements they're going to be making?
Well, I mean, the Fed, originally the markets had priced in a 50 basis point cut. And of course, there was some good economic data that came after that, which they then moved to about 25. Now, the Fed, if they would follow the mandate, they wouldn't do anything, okay? Because again, the economic data has been pretty good. However, because of what's going on globally and the global recession that we're seeing, and every other country every other major country in the world in negative territory, it wouldn't be no surprise if the Fed cut a quarter, but said they're going to continue to cut. Now, they could actually cut up to, they won't do this tomorrow, but they could cut up to a full point or more and still be the best place and still attract new money, because what the government is doing with government bonds is they're actually borrowing money. So why should they pay 1.5 or 2 points when they can pay a half a point, knowing that people are going to use what they call the carry spread and borrow at zero and then give it back to the Fed for whatever they're giving. So I'm sure it's going to be a confusing message, because they're going to have to be very careful how they word this, because again, if the economy is as strong as we think it is, and as they say it is, and again, I think we're in the very midst of the very early stages of recession. But if the economy is strong based on the numbers, based on what they're supposed to be looking at, then it'd be very difficult from the raise. So if they don't hike, would not be a surprise, but I think the market would be surprised, and I think the equities would take a big tumble if there is no cut tomorrow.
All right. Well, thank you very much for explaining all of that. We're going to keep a sharp eye on that, and we look forward to talking to you next week and get your thoughts on what we see. So, Todd, thank you very much. Have a great day. We need to look at the futures markets. Corn market, well, let's go there first. On the lower side, 5 3/4 cents lower on the December, 368 1/4. November soybeans, that's the new crop. Now it's down 8. It's at 8.92, 2 pennies off the low. December Chicago wheat down 7 1/2. Kansas City wheat for December down 6 1/4 at 402 3/4. Let's look at the dollar also before we did go to this break here. Right now we're down 320 points at 97.860, and the livestock is coming up next. We'll check in with Chris Summers, USDA market reporter in Des Moines, Iowa next. Stay with us.